Good morning. Today I wanted to talk to you about some things that I came to know, and I understand what's going on, especially with the pastors. I know Pastor Perry Stone had talked about that he got a prediction that some pastors were going to be, um, how you call it, they were going to be attacked. What I have to say about it, and I know it's the opinion of many people, is that Satan has been attacking them since forever. And this is something that happened in the pastor's youth, so they could have rectified it, but they didn't. They kept on trying to go into the church, and that's something that is a big no-no. You know, I do believe this is the generation who believes that the church is no good, and it's the young people, and they see all these prosperity gospel people, and these young people, this generation, is having a hard time living. So why would they join a church and then have to give money to that church when they don't have any money? So I do believe this is what's going on. So I do encourage the churches that, like Sean Fight, he brings a lot of people with his concerts, and it's not in a building, right? And so if you're not in a building, you don't have to pay for all that stuff and have that tithing there to pay for that. So I do believe that a lot of the young people that I know, because I've been to churches, I've been to many of them, and I say this is not something that's gonna entice the young generation. The young generation right now is gonna be enticed by street preaching, basically. And I do believe they see this as like, wow, this person is putting themselves out there. They're not in a building, so they could get attacked and all this other stuff. And I have seen it, right? And I remember in Mesa also I seen the street preaching, and it's outdoors. It's not in a building. Maybe later on, if they get older, they might want to go into a building, but because this generation is struggling with money, there's no way that they're gonna join a church to give tithing, and that's the problem basically. And I don't know where the conception of, oh, you have to be dressed up to go to church come from, because even here, I I don't know. I had people tell me, well, what am I supposed to wear to go to church? And I was like, you wear what you have. That's it. I don't know where that misconception come through. So right now, I do believe that that's what the Holy Spirit is saying. The preaching, outdoor preaching. The singers are the ones that are bringing all these people in. You see how many come, right, for the concerts and stuff. So I understand also about the attack of the enemy, but what this generation see, these older pastors, because it's older pastors, the older generation is gonna go, not the new generation. There's nothing enticing to the new generation, if that makes sense, right? And so we have all these rappers and all these young Christian artists, and they make their own. It's evangelism that they're doing. They're out there and they bringing all these crowds of young people, and they are. And this is what we need. We don't need a building. For the older generation, yeah, but what they call the tent meetings, like they put up tents, and that's evangelism. That's what we need, a lot of evangelicals, and not beautiful buildings where you have to pay so much, right? And the 501c3 is very controversial, because I know that the churches get a lot of help, but then from the government, but then that means that you're giving the government um, your church. It's going to be in the hands of the government instead of the hands of God, and trusting God to provide. And this is basically why we have so many churches everywhere, but at the same time we have so many people who are just into New Age and being atheistic, right? So something is wrong there. Something is not right. And I lived through all these decades, And I've seen all of this because I've been searching. I've been searching for God in many ways, many sides, Hinduism, Buddhism, all this other stuff. So I had to have an encounter with the Holy Spirit, with Jesus, in order to um, come and be born again. That's how it went for me. And there was thousands of people who are following Victor Otto and these other New Agers. And I try to talk to them about it. And also I wanted to say about a worship team. So I go by what the Bible doesn't say, right? And there is no place in the Bible where a woman takes over. Um, we only have Anna in the temple, but she was serving as a prophetess. And also we have Deborah. Deborah was a prophetess also, but there were prophetess, and they were leading. And she did it reluctantly, but it's because Barack didn't want to, he needed her. I guess he himself wasn't listening to God or whatever, so he needed her. But the head of any pastorship or anything has to be a man. And if there's not a man available, then God says, okay, fine, you could put a woman. And that's why they had to get Deborah, because there was no man that was listening to God, to the Holy Spirit, right? They were relying on her. And that's how God was able to use her. I'm not talking bad about any pastor or whatever, but this is not, it's a big no-no. When you have pastors that have experience and they have leadership and they have no scandals at all in their past, definitely this is what's going on. So that's what I wanted to say. God bless you.